You all wanted to see some fire creation, so I bring you fire. I'm going to be separating the fire creation into 3 major parts. First, we will be going over the sprites you will need to create the fire. Next, we will be talking about setting up the emitter for the base of the fireball. And lastly, we will go over the actual particles and how you can set this thing up in-game. We start off with creating the sprite for the fireball base, which is just a circle that we can put some rough edges on to make it imperfect for a better looking rotation. Then, we just need to create the glow sprite. Just start by creating a circle, going to Effects, Blur, changing the blur type to Box, and increasing the intensity to a high or maxed out value. Lastly, we can make a couple sprites to animate the actual fire particle effect. I've designed a diamond-like sprite that changes into a crescent-like shape and back to the diamond. This is what you'll be using for the actual fire particle, so just as long as it looks something like an ember or something of that nature, that's fine. Now for the actual objects. There are 3 objects involved in making this fireball effect. First is the base for the actual ball of fire. Each of the 3 objects will have a create event, a step event, and a draw event. I have labeled everything inside of the code, so if you would like to get a rough idea of what's going on, you can read line for line what is happening. For the base though, we are just creating an object that will draw the fireball's base and will emit the flame particles. Lastly, we set up the fire particles to actually create the flame. We create all of the initializing variables in the create event, then constantly change some variables around in our step event to create movement to our particles, and finally we draw the particle with a glow effect to make the fire exist and feel hot. Our final object is very simple. We are just creating an outline of our existing fire particle and then drawing it. And just like that, we have some fire in our game. I've set it up to follow my player as if it's his head being lit on fire, but you can also use it as a projectile, lighting a torch, or whatever you desire for your game. I hope you guys learned a thing or two about manually creating particle effects for your game. It is slightly more demanding on your system as the fire is just a bunch of mini objects floating around, constantly creating new ones. However, I think the result is worth the tiny bit of extra power on your system. Thank you guys for watching, but until next time, have a great life.